Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to the VFW, the very frickin' wide, what would you call this, super pack wagon? It is so elongated that it looks like it's built on a Panther chassis, but it's sort of a stretched out Panzer III with some aspects of the Panther when it comes to the suspension, but a little bit of German ingenuity on top of that. And just look at the size of the gun on this thing. Perfect to have a big old cuddly panda bear on the back. Panda bears, so dumb they do not know how to procreate, and well, that pretty much sums up my tactics as well. But all joking aside, the VFW is one of those vehicles you need to pay special mind to. I think it has 3 degrees of gun depression, so you will not be aiming down. The traverse and elevation are not really fast enough to track fast-moving targets, so it helps to engage at long range. And then we start seeing the advantages of the VFW. Number 1, that big ol' heck off 88 cannon that is roughly equivalent to that found on the Tiger II, packs plenty of punch for slamming through enemy armor and enough velocity to make aiming at long ranges fairly simple. Currently I'm sitting at around a 4-second reload, and that may be changed, but with the flaps down, laces out, Dan, you have an increased reload time when compared with flaps up. And you can see we're also able to traverse the turret 360 degrees about the vicinity of the vehicle. Now, the flaps themselves do not appear to have ground collision at this time, which is very convenient, so you can move through obstacles and ground cover without worrying about getting caught up on everything. So the only advantage to the flaps up would be for the minimal protection it provides the crew. It's almost like those flaps are a waste of space, but I digress. It is a German engineered project after all. Another downside you can see, a dubious downside if you will, the scope is of a very low base magnification with no real enhancement over that, and yet it gives you a massive field of view which can be to your advantage, and we see enough detail to make sense out of things, as you see, using our binoculars to find a target and then just ranging with our ranging shots, as we have a decent amount of ammunition and an ungodly reload rate. The Philistines that designed this thing and that brought it into the game, my goodness, we're grateful and horrified at the same time. And speaking of terror, here is your primary predator. When you're up in a good position, it's always dangerous to get targeted by an enemy aircraft. As you see, we're not really able to get the gun on target very effectively. We have to predict where his flight path is going to be. That was a direct hit with a Flak 88 armor-piercing round, and it was not enough to take down the enemy aircraft. Critical hit to the elevator, and yet, I think we just got half of the elevator on. I think that's a PE2 or something along those lines. Really nice little ground attacker. I think it sits at around a 4.3 battle rating in general. And if you get a feel for how that thing flies, you can do fairly well with it. This guy not having the best results, especially after getting hit in the elevator, as we managed to pick up a kill assist. Thank you, Warbly Boy, for finishing him off. Now we have some choices, and I'm going to have a few cuts in this one just because it ended up being a bit of a longer match, and there were times where not a lot was happening. You can see we've set ourselves up for a big field of view, and yet we also have some hard cover nearby and a few exits to our location if we need to reposition. And in fact, that's something we're going to end up doing in the next few moments. There you can see that there's no collision with those boulders on the side skirts, the side walls, what would you call that? Anyway, as we get into a new firing position, opening up a new field of view for ourselves, you always want to be careful when you're expanding your field of view, because you're also expanding your visibility to the enemy team. taking some speculative shots here, and you can see that we fire first and adjust second. There's always time to adjust your aim with the VFW on account of your reload rate is so slight. It feels like firing the 2-pounder, where you just have this super snappy reload rate, and of course the fantastic ballistic properties of the long 88 make it feel like something like no other. So this is a vehicle that has all the advantages in long-range engagement. It's also very spaced out, making it difficult to one-shot and also difficult to cripple. You tend to have to choose between crippling the gun or the mobility on this vehicle. Difficult to get both. And ammo racking is also difficult as well. Hold on a second, getting a call from the wife. Okay, and we're back. So we've spotted a couple of enemy tanks, and they're hiding out, taking cover, if you will, behind those sand dunes, so not sure where they're gonna pop out. And I'm just being a little bit paranoid here, jumping into binocular view, looking around. I'm gonna head and fast forward to where one of them sticks their little nose out. So it looks like an M46, M47, can't tell the difference here. Taking a few shots at him, and a nice one. You see, oh, let me tell you my trick that I do with reflex shooting when it comes to targeting. First off, aim where you think the enemy is gonna be on your sight. You figure, what was that, 1,000 yards or whatever, 1,000 meters, I guess, kilometers being the measurement of distance I'm using. You estimate the difference, set your sights, and then what I do is I like to go one tank length higher than I think it actually is. And then if the round goes over their head, I'll aim lower. A half tank length or whatever I feel is appropriate, maybe an entire tank length. If the round goes, if the round goes over their head, I'll aim lower. If the round goes down at their feet or in front of them, I'll aim higher, as the case is appropriate. Question: how can you tell that your round has landed short of your target? Great question. Here's your answer. If the round is short of the target, the obscuring smoke will hide your target. So the smoke of the round landing or exploding, impacting the ground, the dust, it will obscure your target. If the target is not obscured by the dust, then the round went beyond the target. And of course, if you don't see any dust at all, then it definitely went beyond the target. So, hope that helps. I think draw distance may affect if you're using something like ULQ, and I understand if you need to use that. I've been there, but that is the method that works for me. I know that my rounds are short, and I need to aim up. If I lose sight of the target when that dust cloud gets kicked up, I know that my rounds have gone too far if I can still see the target when that round hits the ground. So that's very helpful to me. It helps me to fire quickly, to react faster and more accurately than a rangefinder, or at least faster. And after a few shots, you can be on target. Usually on the second or third shot, you can hit your target. And that is essential with the VFW. And when it comes to that reflex method of shooting, it's just one of those things you practice. So speaking of, we guessed our distance there and another shot, and then we adjusted to go just a teensy bit higher, and we bounced off of his mantlet as he was repositioning. Always difficult to get a track on a target. There, a KV-1B, if I'm not mistaken, in a 5.7, even 6.7 match. This 4.0, 4.3 battle rating vehicle, quite outclassed, especially as a heavy tank. I don't know what he was doing. And what are we doing? Well, we're backing very, very slowly. I considered whirling the rig around and using our much better forward travel rate to go around this corner, but as you can see, we were a bit impatient, and yet we just took our time backing. The gun stayed nice and stable, which is one advantage of a slow backing gear. Your gun tends to stay on target while you're reversing, something you can use to your advantage. And if I had whirled around to advance more quickly on the enemy, then I would also have to readjust the gun. So I wouldn't really gain any time doing that anyway. The enemy has captured the A point, and here we have the opportunity to pick up a few kills or to die gloriously, both of which I'm sort of looking forward to. It was a bit boring just sniping at long range, wasn't it? And yet the VFW tends to do very poorly at close range, especially against the Americans, as USA boys, well, they have one less now, but they tend to have heavy machine guns, and that poor Duster didn't stand a chance. I am the true AA platform. So, if you're looking for an anti-tank AA, this is technically an anti-aircraft machine, historically speaking, and yet, of course, the king of long-range encounters. Crown him Lord of all. We'll break out the Menengeschoss and crown him Lord of Flak. This, of course, being intended as an anti-aircraft gun that can also kill tanks. And this was my best match in the VFW over the past 2 days where I've had access to the vehicle. I haven't always been keen on playing 5-7 Germany on account of they get up-tiered a bit. 5-7's not my best lineup. It is full of premium vehicles, mind you, but it's not my best. I actually did have some fun today, though. A bit stressful to play the sniper for me because I'm always paranoid about people that can see me. And there wasn't a chance we were going to get first place in our team, so this was not the most efficient way to grind the event, but I'm pretty much done with the event anyway. I'm just back to enjoying the game. I got an F7, F3, I got the VFW, and I got the I-180S, and all of those vehicles have been very exciting for me to get my hands on. Anyway, guys, hope you're having a good time with the event, and I encourage you to pick up the VFW. It's going for around 14 to 16 Gaijin bucks on the market right now. Of course, that's going to fluctuate. The price is probably going to go down and then perhaps a bit up after the end of the event, but we could likely see it go for around 10 to 12 bucks, and that's very, very doable. Especially since just yesterday I sold a vertical stabilizer key component for 22 Gaijin bucks. I think I ended up with like 18 after the tax. So not bad at all. Just sell those rare components if you can, or if you wish, assemble your I-180S. Either way, you should be able to get a hold of this within a day or two of heavy grinding, or 3 or 4 of leisurely, enjoyable grind. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, check out the Discord. Send in those replays if you wish. Those are still things I encourage you to do. Okay, bye-bye.